Raise your hand if you understand the key differences between hybrid vehicles, gasoline, and fully electric vehicles. Okay. I drive an old Jeep that gets 12 miles to the gallon, so I've been looking at this for myself as well as looking into information from the speed. I know we're both seeing some decrease in the popularity of gas vehicles, and we're likely to see an increase in hybrid and electrics as the years go on. So, as people living through this change, I think there's some things we should all know about them. I understand the outlook that combustion engines are the most reliable as opposed to electric engines, but the same arguments can't be used against engines that use both. So I'd like to convince everybody that hybrids are the best choice of vehicle, at least right now. I'm going to start with why combustion engines are losing popularity, the difference between them and hybrids, and why I'd personally not choose a full electric vehicle yet. First, why are fossil fuel vehicles becoming less popular in larger cities? A lot of that is environmental regulations. A lot of states now, like places, require you to go have mandatory vehicle inspections, usually at the cost of the driver. You don't have any choice in the matter. Obviously, cost of operating gas is always fluctuating. It might go up and down, like somewhat short term, but in the long term, it's only really ever gone up. And gas depletion. Bart Krebs, an editor for the American Journal of Economics and Philosophy in 2020, stated, "This trend is likely to be more pronounced, and the near-term future as conventional oil and gas are depleted, and difficult to extract unconventional oil and gas become a larger part of the fossil fuel supply." And that was from 2020. We've obviously seen that. That was true. Those are some of the reasons why gas vehicles are decreasing. Now I can tell you about hybrid vehicles. Let me explain the key differences between combustion engine and hybrid or electric engines. There's two different kinds of hybrid vehicles. There's parallel hybrids and series hybrids. Parallel hybrids, they use an electric motor, but anytime you're getting on the highway or something, you need extra power. They work in conjunction with the gas engine to give it the extra power. Series hybrids is the exact opposite of that. They only use just the electric or the gas engine. Okay. As soon as you get on the highway, you're using gas, your electric motor shuts off. So that's the differences in the two kinds. One of the most interesting parts to me that I found the most fun was mechanical torque versus electrical torque. Mechanical torque is obviously how regular cars work. Things have to touch each other. Electrical torque uses electromagnetism to spin the electric motor, to spin your tires. So you can actually use that to save your brake pads. The same way the electric motor will spin the tires forward, you can use that, you can reverse that electric motor, reverse the force, and slow down the wheels with that same thing. So you don't actually have to, if you live in town, a day-to-day driver, you're probably never going to use your brake pads ever. Like, you'll use them on the highway, or if you slam on the brakes to avoid an accident with your mechanical brakes over. But you don't have to use them in your in-town drive. This graph shows kind of the difference in the speed. Obviously, electricity is near the speed of light, so you can immediately get 3 times more torque with an electric motor than you can with a mechanical motor. It takes literally an uncountable, like a small amount of time to get all the way to its full potential. The coolest thing about using the electric motor in reverse to slow down the tires is anytime you try to slow down or stop and you do that, the the electric motor reverses, and that actually charges your battery. So like when you're going forward, it drains your battery. When you're slowing down or stopping, the engine reverses and you're charging your battery. That's why you might have like people in larger cities have an argument with people in more rural areas. People in larger cities might say like, oh, I haven't had to charge my battery in 3 months, I don't know what you're talking about. Because they're stopping and going all the time, so they're always charging their battery as they're moving. If you live somewhere more like this, where you could take a 4-hour one-way drive and never really go below 70 miles an hour, in that amount of time you'd absolutely kill your battery. So they're not really that popular. That's why hybrids are nice, because they can have a backup motor that will kick in if you go run out of battery. While I wouldn't choose an electric vehicle right now, Um, on cooling the battery itself, on electric vehicles, the batteries are massive, like 1,200 pounds. They're huge. So on cooling that battery, depending on the temperature outside, you don't know if that's going to take 1 to 20% of your battery out. So, and that's like a huge variance, and you kind of got to plan for that kind of stuff. You know, that could make it very wishy-washy. And if it's very cold outside, just heating the cabin can do anywhere from 20 to 40% of your battery life. So you're already on a place like Oklahoma, where you don't know what the weather's going to be. It might be super cold or super hot. You don't know if you're going to spend between 1 and 50% of your battery on heating and cooling your car. Driving time is really unpredictable. Like I said, it depends on what kind of vehicle you have. Regenerative braking helps, but if you don't know if you're going to be stopping and going a lot that day, you can't really count on that to keep charging your battery up. So it's hard to say, how long your battery's actually going to last. And an important thing in places like Oklahoma, or anywhere around here really, the Midwest especially, 90% of charging stations are in larger cities and urban areas. So you can go 100 miles here in Oklahoma and never see a charging station, and you don't know if you're going to last that long. So that's why I think hybrid vehicles are a better option. That's why gas engines are being used less, and the difference between those and hybrids, and why I'm not a fan of full electric vehicles just yet. That's why I think hybrids are the best option right now, and I hope you consider this next time everyone gets a vehicle.